All right, friends, family, strangers. O Maracuja é bastante popular em fragrâncias. I don't speak Portuguese. Passion fruit, Maracuja, is indeed topping the chart lists for a lot of fruits that are hit in the market. But if you're here to find the most popular dupes and cheaper clones for Oud Maracujá by Maison Crivelli, I can't blame you. I don't have it. I don't care to get it, to be honest. But I did do a little dive into tropical fruit fragrances, assembled quite a collection from my personal olfactory library. What is it that made Maracuja the fruit smell of 2026? Not only because of the 3-year strong run of Oud Maracujá Maison Crivelli that is quickly approaching icon status. It is the thing to such a degree that Simrise crowned tropical fruits as the perfume trend for 2026. Yes, Maracuja is all the craze right now, but I've had a very beautiful Maracuja fragrance in my collection for over 6 years now. So let's start from that. Enter the scene, Paraiba by Bvlgari. And by the way, what a magnificent, marvelous bottle design. I do think Bvlgari needs to find its way back to gorgeous bottle designs. Their boutique line, by opinions of nearly all people I've talked to, leaves a lot to be desired for those kind of prices and their sincere intention to sell the finest fragrances ever produced by the brand. I think they've had really magnificent collectible bottle designs. This looks like a precious gemstone. Yes, they don't stand on their own, but they look like combination of a gemstone and architectural genius. Beautiful bottle designs. I prefer this one, which is smaller, way more than the double ring that they have right now. Anyway, Maracuja here comes front and center, and it pretty much stays that way till the very end, where it dries down to a somewhat uncertain, sweeter floral base. Something that is truly magnificent about the sourness, the citrusy sourness and tropical fruitiness of this fragrance is, first of all, it was made over 10 years, over a decade ago. And it is just as beautiful now as it was then. You know, a lot of perfume formulas feel dated. A lot of them don't really survive reformulations and the changing trends and the general progress and explosion of aromatic materials that are available to perfumers. So arguably formulas get even more diverse, they get even more beautiful, they get even more long lasting, diffusive. So everything is getting better with that much that the industry has to offer. That said, this is still, I would dare say, out of all of these fragrances, and I'm going to show you they're newer, this is in the top 3. This is Maracuja as it is, and this is the one that you probably will taste when you buy it in the store, because most of the fruits are cut and transported when they're green and it's still not ripe. So the typical kind of rotting sweet facet that fruits have if you live in the area where they grow, that's usually not present in the fruits that you buy in the grocery store. But for many people, that's what they smell like. And usually it's the version of the fruit headspace profile that is a little bit more citrusy, a little bit more fresh, a little bit more zesty, rather than, you know, overly sweet with kind of decaying flesh aspects. So this is the Maracuja that you would buy in an expensive organic grocery store. It has absolutely zero animalic or indolic or terpenic, any kind of soily rotting facets are safely removed from here. And if you can find it in its original packaging, this is just beautiful, beautiful stuff. I'll leave a link below if you want to try it. That said, if we start going down the rabbit hole, let's address things heads on. Love Hibiscus, Amouage. I got very lucky when I visited Amouage Boutique in New York City. And the beautiful sales rep, we discussed all of the fragrances at depth. We agreed on many our points. I admired the new Amouage Boutique design, which is Dune inspired. Everything, like every reason to go there. If you're in New York City, guys, just say it with me. I am spoiled. Like, you are spoiled if you live in New York City. There's probably no other place in the United States where you can try nearly everything the day before it officially releases. So I got an opportunity to try Love Hibiscus and actually wear it a little bit. And here, in comparison to Paraiba, we get a slightly more elevated, slightly more believable and nuanced passion fruit Maracuja pyramid. That said, I, for the love of God, don't understand why it's called hibiscus. What does iris have to do with any of it, or even caramel? Or sandalwood to that end. This is just a very believable, strong, sour sweet maracuja kind of syrup / cocktail scent. It is vibrant. It is fun. It seems to me that it's kind of youth oriented. I hate that terminology, but it does seem, if it had more facets to it, I could sort of argue that, maybe that's not the case. But when it's linear and everything that you can detect is just a maracuja syrup, then I'm left a little lost to what else can be said, right? This is like a very Nepo baby type of fun thing that for some reason costs a lot of money. It's great. It's fun. It's fruity. Is it Amouage? Oh, self-evidently it is, but is it Amouage? This is what Amouage that we used to know. Even if we take into account the change of artistic direction and everything, still, like a lot of the Amouage releases do try to monopolize on what they're known for. And here I find it a little lacking in dynamics, in depth. It's strong, fruity, and that's it. I wore it. I kind of sort of enjoy it, but I find it a little bit flat. Not in terms of the fragrance itself smells cheap, that it's just, I just want more movement. I want to eventually lose the passion fruit and maybe something else to emerge, and nothing else emerges. It just quiets down, and that's about it. I'll continue to wear it. Maybe the culprit is the Floridian heat. This is a Middle Eastern brand. I presume that all of their formulas are tested in the scorching heat of Oman. So I don't know what to say. I feel a little awkward here because I really wanted to love it. And while there's nothing overtly disturbing about Love Hibiscus, I don't understand the name. The pyramid is kind of, he just threw things in there, I guess. Like, it could have been literally a mono scent of Maracuja, and they could have called it Maracuja something. And that maybe that would be more honest, but I guess that would not really entice people to go and pay the Amouage kind of prices. It's a little bit of a disappointment. Just conceptually. I guess my expectations are very high in this case. All right, moving on. This is where I had zero expectations. Bought this after trying it in Neiman Marcus. And it over-delivered. This is Dallachaï. Let me find the blotter. Dallachaï by Montale. Not many people talked about it, only people who got it for PR, to my knowledge. To really go down the rabbit hole of tropical fruits, why aren't more people talking about this? You get this splash of juicy, zesty maracuja, and then slowly the coffee with milk facets start to come in. It is so much fun, and it's so wearable. And when I just got it, I was about to say, well, it's a little synthetic. But similar to frangipani, I gotta say, it's the maracuja, passion fruit, and tropical fruits in general are very hard to do believably. Maybe partially because you cannot really extract the aromatic essences from fruits themselves, not in any feasible quantities for it to be used commercially. Maybe because a lot of us have very primitive understanding of what those fruits actually smell like because we don't live in the areas where they grow. But a lot of tropical fruit fragrances to me smell like tropical fruit syrups. Something slightly synthetic, bright, but kind of not serious, slightly childish, slightly more like flavoring rather than a high perfumery creation. That said, if I had to choose between Amouage Love Hibiscus or Dallachaï, hands down, like it would not be even an argument, hands down, for both the price and the scent profile, it would be Dallachaï. I love it. Truly, I love it. And I'm not a fruity person. As I said, I generally have a lot of reservations against tropical fruity fragrances when the whole fragrance rotates around that. Like I can take a fruity facet in any fragrance any time of the day. As I said, like to me, when it's all about the fruit, it becomes a flavoring rather than a truly olfactory art. But Dallachaï is fun. This weird milkiness makes this maracuja just shimmer. It's bright, juicy, and then it's softer. Then again, it's bright and juicy. There's a lot of fun kind of milkshake plus juice movement here. It just brings a smile to my face. I love Dallachaï. If you are in the market for a maracuja fragrance, but you cannot put your hands on Paraiba, because it's either discontinued or hard to find, I would say take a look, and I'll leave a link down below where you can take a look. All right, that's not even it. There is another famous maracuja fragrance that has been around even longer than that. It's Keiko Mecheri Passiflora. I got myself a bottle just recently because I wanted to prove the point that fruity fragrances haven't developed or evolved much since 20 years ago. So here, with Keiko Mecheri, we're dealing with slightly bitter and zestier composition, what they call green notes, flowers. That's pretty much it. There is something to me that smells here like slightly acidic yellow florals. There's a part of Passiflora and Keiko Mecheri that's somewhat bitter green yellow, almost like stems of flowers. That said, somebody will say that, oh, it's not as yummy, it's not as inviting as Dallachaï or Love Hibiscus. But that unusual and somewhat unfriendly facet of Passiflora by Keiko Mecheri is the reason why it smells a little bit more olfactory artsy. There is something here that's surprising, that is non-trivial. It's not a literal interpretation of passion fruit that I kind of dig. That said, in terms of the loveliness factor, still. This is top 3. Passiflora, great experiment. Should you hunt down Passiflora by Keiko Mecheri? Only if you're into slightly bitter green versions of the same concept. I didn't find it to be particularly striking, but as I said, it fits right in. And this is 23 years old. So some trends are really not about any kind of material innovation. They are mostly about being in the right place in the right time, and just things either coming back in fashion or re-emerging. And often they re-emerge as trends even without any significant alteration. In my view, Maracuja and tropical florals, you can easily buy a fragrance that was made 20 years ago. It will be just as zesty, fruity, and well-fitting into what you expect that fragrance to smell like in the modern times as a new release. It's not the case for everything, I must say. Like carnation fragrances, aldehydes, those underwent a huge journey of transformations. But fruity fragrances, I think you can skip all the releases. It's just my not so humble opinion. But let's move on. This is not even it. In one of the blind tests, I got privileged to get access to this beauty, which to me is more rhubarb and more bitter green mango type of situation than passion fruit. Nevertheless, somewhere there underneath it all, there is this fruitiness that some people prefer. If you prefer non-ripe fruits, if you're thinking about passionflower and passion fruit, and you're thinking, I want it to be almost bitter green, just with a hint of Maracuja, the Paradisi by Jorum Studio, which is an independent niche house, could be it. This is one of those green mango scents that Jean-Claude Elena did so well for Hermès for years. So I just wanted to give it a shout out because technically speaking, it has connection to the family and I really enjoy wearing it. I really, really do. And let's look at the beast. What do we have here? I looked and perused comments on Fragrantica for Oud Maracujá, giving its cult status, quickly becoming a rival to Ganymede and God knows, maybe Macara Rouge. What's so special about it? I think what's so special about it is that male perfume enthusiasts in the States made it popular. I did not find such flamboyantly positive reviews in any other language. As you know, Fragrantica has different sites for different kind of language families, and I looked at a few with a translator, and arguably United States is the only place right now where Oud Maracujá is getting such hype, and it's getting incredible hype predominantly by male perfume enthusiasts, which to me kind of brings me to a point of this very ardent gender divide that exists in the English-speaking perfume community. There are like two camps, people who passionately fight to have that gender divide, and people who passionately fight to not even mention gender at all. And I guess the truth is somewhere in between, right? There are certain fragrance profiles that just culturally, through the nature of soft norms, we associate more with men wearing those scents versus women. If something is overtly sweet and gourmand, it usually lives in the aisles devoted to women. And when fragrances that are gender bender but marketed toward men appear, for example, almost every guy who is into perfume has Dior Homme, which is a powdery irisy perfume. There are tens of thousands of iris perfumes that they could shop from. But since this is Dior Homme, it's a classic, it's marketed toward men, your masculinity stays protected, it's safe. A lot of men say like, wow, this is a truly unique fragrance. If you compare Dior Homme to dozens of other iris perfumes, I don't see it being that unique or that spectacular of an iris, to be honest. It's a great perfume, don't take me wrong. It's just not the iris. It's not the irisy perfume of this world. It's not. Sorry, not sorry. But guys, for whatever reason, especially in the United States, are so constricted to not crossing the border, even to niche, where there is no marking of any kind of gender marketing. They just feel uncomfortable if there is a notion of a rose, of a jasmine, or of a fruit. So, when a concoction appears that has this bitter, animalic, synthetic oud, because yes, it is synthetic, Maison Crivelli doesn't do the gold of the Middle East. It's just too expensive for them too. So this is a synthetic accord that it's called oud by the marketing campaign. They add all kinds of other green and deeper resinous notes, and they throw in a synthetic fruity essence of kind of rosy fruity plus passion fruit plus maracuja. And it's like a bomb that goes off. And I did not see that hype in any other language in Fragrantica websites. Because everybody else is like, yeah, this is like a super loud, not very sophisticated synthetic oud perfume with a fruity syrup. That's what the rest of the world who smelled all of the fruity perfumes thinks. But only in our sphere, this is revolutionary, that you can layer synthetic screechy oud base to a sweet gourmand. God forbid. But as long as the bottle is deep blue, right? Our masculinity is safe. And that's the only explanation I can find. It's truly bewildering how easy it is to impress our male perfume enthusiasts, apparently. You just color the bottle blue, you put there any ingredient that don't expect to find in Creed Aventus. I just seek to understand and to potentially maybe pose a question here, that such an explosion in popularity in only one particular language market could be a sign of certain cultural codes that are potentially not the healthiest. It's not that we have to go into the whole another side of gender is a construct. No, there is a biological gender. Like every biologist will tell you that. However, like we don't live between extremes. Guys are allowed to smell what they like. When you're eating a potato salad, you wouldn't entertain a question, is this potato salad feminine or masculine? Because if it's feminine, I'm not going to eat it. I'm just not going to. Is this steak feminine or masculine? Is this banana feminine or masculine? Because like I need to know what I'm eating here. Because God knows if I eat the wrong cucumber, if I mix feminine or masculine vegetable, God forbid, I might just wake up another gender tomorrow. It's the same. 70% of taste is smell. You either like it or not. There is no such thing as feminine flowers or masculine flowers. It's all a cultural construct. Yes, the cultural codes exist, but do they need to be that restrictive? That adding a synthetic fruit essence to a synthetic oud essence, you get an iconic, a ground, mind-blowing innovation. I just went through all the trouble of trying to showcase that you go through over 2 decades and Maracuja fragrances smell about the same. They do. Prove me wrong. I leave a link below. Get yourself a sampler and tell me if you notice generational difference in the way these olfactory compositions are engineered. I welcome a challenge. I smelled it. I wore them all. New, not so new, truly ancient. And they're kind of all fit into the same line. It's a nothing burger innovation. And since that is not the case, that is not a potential explanation to why this is such a cult perfume and such a trend, then you have to look further, right? You have to look at the secondary order effects, which are cultural codes. And when I look there, I find only one language in only one country where it's a big deal. What conclusion are we supposed to arrive at? If that's the data, I guess you tell me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think. Have you tried any tropical fruits? Do you wear them as a man or as a woman or undecided or somewhere in between? Just share. Do you have any oldies? Do you have any new ones? Where are you on the spectrum? I'm still fairly low-key when it comes to fruity perfumes. They remind me of fruity shampoos. One exception is Dallachaï. I don't think that this is a masterpiece, but it's so fun. Oh, it's so fun. Otherwise, the whole trend, much ado about nothing. Here, I said it.